Good morning, good evening, good night. Welcome to NFT Live on the Web3 Network. We're taking you around the NFT and Web3 industry today. Last episode of the week. It is a Thanksgiving week episode here. So we're going to cut it short. We're going to come back on Monday, but we are going to have an action-packed episode. This show is going to basically take care of itself today. The dashboard is very macro heavy. We're seeing a lot of crazy announcements around this Binance piece, Kraken, but a lot of stuff happening in our neck of the woods as well. Let's go around the try box here while we still have it. We're planning to go pentabox today. We got Jiwa coming in to talk about his latest drop. It's going to be awesome to hear from him and get to go through his artwork pieces. And, of course, Ronan the Collector is going to be popping in here as well. If we get a 6-box with Huda, it's just going to break the internet. Biggie, what's up, dude?
I love that idea. Penta, hexabox. That'll be epic, man. Well, yeah, lots to talk about, man. Stayed up into the wee hours last night, just catching up with everything. And still, dude, you wake up and it's like the narrative is like you got 3 more chapters to catch up on, dude. So I'm looking forward to it, man. But it's fun. Love the show too.
I can only imagine being like a swing trader in this space right now. Like, which way is it going? What's happening? What are we doing? Are we going up? Are we going down? Is this good? Is this bad? Gifted hosted a great space this morning, GM Web3, the 301st episode, by the way. So we got past that 300 milestone. Coffins is still minting. What's up, dude?
Yeah, all of that. Another one. 301 today. Yes, yesterday was episode 300. It was awesome. Coffins are minting. It's going well. Over 650. And Roger Dickerman minted too, apparently. That's tremendous. Jordan Lyle, Video Game Freak, VGF. Who else? Star-Lordy, y'all. I mean, there's just so many amazing people that are in this collection. And that honestly is maybe the coolest part of it, is just the people that I respect the most have these in their wallets. And it's so fucking cool, man. But yeah, it was a cool chat this morning. We had Kitty Inu.
Yep.
New project that I didn't know. Actually really sounds pretty legit. I was impressed by the founder CEO, Anna, that came on and talked to us. That's minting PFP. And what I really liked the most about it was the strategic approach of like coming in the opposite direction of how most NFT projects come, which is they will launch the PFP NFT, which is very exclusive, high end, difficult to get into. And then they try and reverse engineer upwards to the, like, how do you build out a sustainable revenue model, accessible brand awareness, and create the top funnel out of that, which is very difficult. It creates a lot of problems with the original collectors as you try and like expand the project, increase supply, do a bunch of other things that maybe they don't agree with. And they're doing the opposite. They started with a fungible token. They started with like a game and a product and a DAO and like these more accessible touch points. And now they're building down the funnel to the more exclusive PFP. And I just think that that's actually really fucking smart. And I was very impressed.
I'm showing it off now. I do want to get into a spotlight of Kitty Inu because we had Anna and I believe was it AJ on the GM Web3 Spaces. Okay, we're gonna hop back into that. I will drop that into the chat though if you guys want to check it out in the meantime. Like I said, today's episode is really gonna take care of itself. You'd think we'd be talking all about the Blur airdrop today. I mean, we had $100 million airdrop come into the space. You'd think we'd be talking all about that, but nay. This space moves at a fucking lightning pace, and we have Jiwa in as well to talk about his project. So we are going to be flying through a lot of really cool stories. DP, I see you. What up? Prodigy was looking for you yesterday, man. SP, Cats Fanatic, lots of news to talk about. Peter Q, you know we started.
He was looking for you because apparently it's lonely trolling me alone. I think that
was the case. And Squash Man. And we, of course, let's get into our quad box early here. We got the intros out of the way. Excited to bring in Jiwa here to NFT Live. First time, long time listener, hopefully, but first time caller. Jiwa, what's up, brother?
Yo, what's going on, guys? Just broadcasting in from Berlin here at the Bright Moments Gallery. Happy to be here.
Awesome, man. Gifted always tells our guests, but I'm gonna hop in front of him here. Gif, if you could hit us with the disclaimer while Jiwa attends to the settings cog. You see that little settings cog right there? Sometimes it throttles your kind of quality in your
Okay.
resolution there. So try to turn that up to 1080 and we will get going.
Yes.
Cool. We up
The-
there.
Yeah. The do not speckle prayer, I believe, is what we're starting to call this now. Ye old do not speckle. Look.
No one wants to be speckly, you know?
Yeah, it can get crazy out there. Airdrop this, token that, and caught up in all that mix, it can be easy to, forget that what we're doing up here is not financial advice.
That's
people
right.
get heated.
I'm here to talk about the art, baby. I'm here to talk about the art.
The energy
the
can
tech.
get a little bit overwrought and heated. We get all excited sometimes, but it's just important to always remember, fam. This is not financial advice. We're not financial advisors. We're just talking about cool shit on the internet. It's all public domain information. Do your own research. Thank you.
Biggie can't even control himself. He's like, there's no way that Gifted is what he's saying is true. All right, we are going to get into the episode, folks. If you're listening on X, if you're watching us on YouTube, either live or afterwards, you guys are the real G's here. We appreciate the support. The channel's been growing, and that is because you are giving us a lot of that support, either with the likes or just the comments. Man, you guys are awesome. All right, we're gonna get to Jiwa here in just a moment, what he is building, but I'd be remiss, like this just broke like 5 seconds ago. And I would love your take on this, Jiwa, as well. The U.S. government criminally charges Binance with the following: conspiracy, conducting unlicensed money transmitting business, violating international emergency economic powers acts, and we also have this big news here that Binance, the former now CEO of Binance, at some point I knew I was going to say it. I didn't think it was going to be today. CZ is stepping down and pleading guilty to U.S. criminal charges. Guys, I'll let you take this one away.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't hear the part where he pled guilty. So that's kind of like like a nail in a coffin, so to speak, gif. But I think, at first glance, it doesn't really surprise me. Like, I feel like I've heard Binance has gotten charged with this, that, or the other before in the past. Binance US, I think, shut down for a bit and then came back or whatever. And I never really take, this platform had charges filed against them. It's like, it happens and then it goes away and whatever. But I think if CZ is stepping down and admitting guilt, well, it seems like it's a little bit different,
Yeah, I guess we're getting the details of those. What was it? They were handing him folders of sealed documents and shit. Everybody was talking about that. I think we're getting some specifics now of what's been passed around. I guess I'm curious. What does this mean for him? Does that mean that he's actually gonna do jail time? Or I assume not. He's not based in the U.S., so he's not gonna come here and do jail time. This is just more charging him, going through a process, I guess, and him stepping down. Then I guess the optimistic hope here, Q, that you were trying to get to, is that this might mean that Binance could clear the way to set themselves up to offer services in the US again at some point, potentially.
I do want to add in here as well, and I do lean bullish on this news. Look, in any type of relationship or in any type of situation, the lack of communication or just the lack of information is always kind of the death knell. So being able to actually say, hey, this is what's happening. CZ is doing something, rather than there being this gray area of, oh, maybe down the line we'll charge him. That's infinitely worse, in my opinion. And I do want y'all's take as well. But I want to pull in this Arthur Hayes. So you could kind of make the parallel here of BitMEX being the Binance of last cycle, or on par with FTX during last cycle. This was Arthur Hayes' settlement. He was sentenced to 6 months of home detention and 2 years of probation. Also agreed to pay a fine of 10 mil. So he got off scot-free on that.
Deal.
And representing his pecuniary. Wow, I don't know that word. Pecuniary gain from the offense. Anyways, that's Arthur Hayes' settlement. And you were asking what's going to happen to CZ? Maybe something along those lines.
Also, it's why did he just plead guilty? Did he know that they had on him, or what is he playing 4D chess in a way that just playing guilty, played some, got some deal that allows him to kind of get out of this pretty quickly and easily. So interested to hear more details develop.
Yeah, you can't help but think that if he is admitting guilt, then what they had on him was pretty hefty, right? And I, and in my opinion, it doesn't necessarily mean that like he's like a nefarious criminal, say like SBF, but I can see a situation where he's been forced to succumb to these charges, right, and settle in favor of maybe being able to still operate his business elsewhere, right? Very much the way Hayes has, but it just once again just reveals to me the long reach of Uncle Sam's current financial stronghold, right? And as bullish as we all like to get whenever we hear about like a Bitcoin ETF or Ethereum ETF, to me these are just like tactics from this country in order to save face while at the same time like trying to suffocate this industry. It's I don't know, I'm not too bullish on the Q. It makes me a little sad, to be honest, because anybody that wants to do anything, if you hold a U.S. citizenship, you are completely hindered in comparison to the rest of your competition. And that enrages me. That should make everybody very angry. We'll see how it plays out, right? Like we still need to see what the details in, but it's not the best look, honestly. Not bullish.
Biggie, I will say I am bullish, but also sad. So if you can be bullish and sad at the same time, like another
one,
a sad bull.
You can be a sad bull.
That's what I am.
Sad bull. Like, but it's an interesting way to bring Jiwa into this conversation because they are out there in Berlin, right? And so y'all actually moved out there, I believe, a couple years ago to set up Intent.art and your own studio collective, creating crypto art and NFTs. So yeah, what's your perspective on like how much different it is over there in Europe, in the UK? And I mean, I don't know if you got any perspective on that. We just know that, they've been moving quickly on the regulatory front, but Germany specifically, like versus what you see happening in the US.
Yeah, for sure. I think, Germany and a lot of the kind of like European countries, they want to be players in the space, and they feel like they have been behind the ball a bit in the tech arena in general. So usually from what I've seen, there's the regulation is pretty pro tech, pro innovation. They want to lure talent to come here. My visa that I have here is as a kind of like freelance software guy, because they want tech people to come here and to be builders and to be participating in the ecosystem here. Also, something that's kind of interesting is the long-term capital gains tax here is very low. So it's a big attractor. And I think Berlin especially has always been wanting to be like on the forefront of things and not to have so much, not to like cling to the past so much. So from a digital crypto generative art perspective, they have been kind of building up generative art for the past 20 years. There's a digital art museum here, which is one of the first big proponents from like a museum institution to like really collect and to show generative art. And so they're definitely seen as on the forefront as far as cities around the world go in kind of accepting this type of stuff and then trying to kind of bring it into the fold and see what it can really bring to the country, to the city, etc.
Yeah, so just a more tech forward, innovative society and culture in general, which is pretty awesome. And I mean, that's why it's awesome that you're there. And the cool thing too, that you already kind of alluded to that we should highlight is like right now you're at the Berlin Bright Moments Gallery, and you and the Intent team have basically taken over, my understanding, the duties of like running it there, right? So like maybe just tell us briefly about that, because I feel like this is directly attached to their Global Crypto Citizens Initiative, where they're dropping and basically seeding these different communities in 10 different cities around the world. And so they did Crypto Berliners, I don't know if that was like city 5 or 6 or something like that. But they're basically trying to actually leave behind a footprint and a community and set up some kind of DAO or gallery. I'm not as involved as you, so anything you can share about what's going on there, Bright Moments is definitely a really cool organization.
Yeah, 100%. Well, Bright Moments started in Venice Beach, California, out by where you are, GIF. And yeah, they've since gone to New York, and then they came to Berlin, London, Mexico City, Tokyo. Now, Buenos Aires was the event just a couple weeks ago. And then the final 2 cities are Paris, and then they're closing the whole thing, or shall I say, ending the global tour in Venice, Italy. So from Venice Beach to Venice, Italy, and it's going to be during the Italian Art Biennale, which is going to get, I think, a lot of attention on the space from the traditional art world. So that's kind of like the journey that Bright Moments has gone on over the past couple of years. And it's been really cool to just be a part of it as a collector. And then now to actually be, a part of the team and to help facilitate Bright Moments here in Berlin. One of the really unique things about Bright Moments is they now can tout this global network, kind of like you alluded to, GIF, this global network of galleries and kind of crypto Web3 forward places that can kind of be activated at will by different artists, different projects, whatever. So there was, you guys have heard of Impikaz, the Art Blocks artist that did Chimera and a few other things. He did
I still have my Chimera. I picked one up because of your recommendation. Yeah, I have one Chimera. Yeah, that's one of my grails that I'm still holding, dude. I had to get rid of my cargos, bro. I don't have any cargos, but I have a Chimera.
Nice. Well, you're still holding some of Kim's FX hash pieces that I think will hold up well over time. Not financial advice, of course, but yeah. So Impikaz, the reason I brought him up is he was the first kind of this like global tour around the world with a partnership between Art Blocks and Bright Moments. And they essentially held an event at every location around the world over the course of like a week and really activated all the galleries at the same time. They did the same thing with CZ Resigns. And then there was also a partnership between them and WorldCoin, where WorldCoin wanted to get in every gallery around the world in like a quick snap. So it's kind of interesting that other organizations or whatever are seeing the value in being able to activate a global community kind of quickly by working with one organization.
All right, Jiwa, I'm going to set you up here to talk about your Axos collection here. The last question I have on this Bright Moments piece, if you have any insight into it, we know that it's officially ending, but it's not going to officially end. If you understand what I mean.
Thanks for asking that too. That was like, please don't let him get away with that. Addressing this point, I'm such a fan.
Yeah.
When I heard that news, it broke my heart, and I'm like, there's no way that's the end. But how do you envision it moving on after the grand finale in Venice, Italy?
For sure. Well, I got a comment on the Art Blocks pin you got on your hat up there, Biggie Poppins. That's cool, man. Did you get that in Marfa, or where did you cop that?
Yeah, I got it in Marfa. Not this year, last year.
Wow, I was there too, man. I wish we would have got a chance to chat.
I missed you, man. I saw the picture on the Telegram, and I was like, is that from last year? Is he here? Yeah, next time we'll have to do a better job coordinating. I'd love to hang out with you.
Next time. Yeah, well, I wish I had more info for you on that. I think the Seth and Phil and them have been kind of keeping it kind of tight. I don't know that they even really know what the plan is next. I think they are trying to just end with a bang, or at least end this. It's kind of like their initial roadmap. You could really look at the 10-city tour around the world as an initial roadmap that they want to complete, right? But they've done so much in building relationships and just doing really cool things in the community that I know that they want to continue that in one way, in one shape, one form. So at least my opinion is that we're not going to see like a full dissolution of Bright Moments or Crypto Citizens. They're always going to want to contribute to those communities, add value in different ways. Bright Moments has been doing the Crypto Citizens, but they also do a lot of generative art drops, right? And if you own a Citizen, you get 25% off of this drop, or if you have a full set, you get 50% off of that thing. So I think they really pride themselves in really kind of cultivating and connecting and, really just contributing overall to the generative art and Web3 growth around the world. And I think I think they're going to want to continue to do that in one way, shape, or form. As soon as I have more concrete updates, I'll certainly join the crew again and drop those with you guys.
All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to jump into this collection that Jiwa has live right now. Appreciate everybody showing up. Almost 30 live viewers here in YouTube. If you are on X, we see you as well. And we have some Twitch viewers as well. That's good to see. So yeah, shout out to everybody that's here. Leave a like, leave a retweet, repost, whatever they're calling it these days, over there on X as well. Get the word out. We will be touching on Blur and a couple other of these pieces. Blast. We'll be following up on the Binance piece. But let's jump in to everything that you've got going on, Jiwa. I'm going to pull up the Axos collection as well over here on Art Blocks, and let's jump into it, man.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah. So you're currently looking at my artist profile. Where Axos is the next big thing kind of coming up, man. It's been a journey. So you're looking at right now the current state of my pixel easing algorithm. So, you know, when it comes to generative art, you can pull from a lot of existing algorithms. There's a lot of existing work that you can build on. And of course, you know, in any art form, I'm building off a lineage of people who have done pixel manipulation work and cool things like you know, what I'm doing now from the past. So, you know, definitely standing on the shoulder of giants. But for me, it was really important to kind of go deep and really kind of create something that felt really unique to myself and was my own thing. And Axos is a representation of that. So it's the pixel easing algorithm at work. It talks about, you know, a lot of my work talks about introspection and kind of self-growth and kind of the shit that we go through in our minds, you know, like the anxiety and you know, like trying to be happier and being in the rat race and the struggle and stuff. So Axos is kind of translating that struggle of kind of what is happening in our mind to a generative algorithm. I'm really happy with how it came out. I worked on it for probably just this piece alone for like 7 months or so, but it also is a continuation of my work over like the past year and a half as well.
Yeah, they're really cool, man. And yeah, when you were on the show talking about sort of the way that our minds work, that, you know, we experience anxiety and going through these sort of like ups and downs with our mental states, you know, going in and out of like various states of sort of like chaos, organization, stress, anxiety. I definitely really kind of saw that in the way that these sort of form together and like hold certain shapes and then break apart in different ways and like reform into others. There's something very, very sort of like neurological, or even like it seems like how thoughts work, you know, like our thoughts are scattered some days more than others, and then they coalesce and you experience some focus, but maybe that focus is only for like a very short amount of time. It's short lived, and then you're distracted, and then everything scatters again. And so, yeah, I actually really fuck with that. And I see that in these pieces.
Cool. Yeah, thanks. I'm super glad that that's translating over, you know. Some other interesting aspects of Axos is it's interactive. So there's a bunch of different things you can play with when you're viewing the Axos. You can press A to kind of slow everything down and enter into awareness mode, like you just did. You can press F to make it freak out, and that will basically send everything kind of blasting off, going crazy. And the analogy for that is, it's like, you know, we a lot of times we think things just happen to us, but in reality, we have control. We can control the way that we react to all the situations in our life, right? And so that translates over to Axos. The piece will play, and it has this default flow and natural rhythm that will just go on its own. But if you do want to take control, you can do that. And that's an analogy for how you can take control of your mind state, and you can take control of your life.
I love that. Are you able to interact with it now? Like if we were to go to the website?
I'm doing it now.
He
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
This is me messing with it.
So there's some like sort of tests, just like, you were able to go play with the Herbert Franca algorithm before it minted. You can go to the Artblock's website right now. The Axo page is up there, and you can see some sort of like test outputs and actually go play around with them like the actual outputs. But my understanding, Jiwa, is that when you actually mint, whatever is generated is going to be generative and totally random and new. So those outputs are just sort of examples, right? They're just test outputs. And then when you go mint and the actual mint happens, which I believe is the 27th. What is that?
Next Monday. Yep.
Monday. So yeah, on the 27th, when you go mint, it's going to use the algorithm to generate a totally new, unique output that nobody could have predicted. And that's sort of the magic and the collaborative nature of the technology with the collector and you, the artist.
Yeah, that's 100% right. So, I don't know exactly what's going to come out and what exactly the mints are going to look like, which is one of the really exciting things about generative art as well. It's like the code itself is the art, and the outputs is really just, it's like a collaboration with the collector. So it's a really exciting thing. I'm really stoked. The drop is next Monday at 10 a.m. PST and 1 p.m. EST and 7 p.m. CET. A couple things that you might be interested in knowing is there are 2 allow lists for this collection. One is for intent.art holders. So we have a couple legacy collections. One is called Neo Vita that we dropped in December of 2021. The second is my first generative art collection called Dissipation that dropped with Nifty Castle Crew in January of 2022. So if you own either one of those works, you can be a part of there's a first come, first serve allow list that has 50 spots available. That opens up on Friday. Follow me and get updates on my Twitter for exactly when that's going to open up on Friday. But that'll be open from Friday till Monday morning to give people some time to mint with the holiday weekend. And then also we have a partnership with the Floor app, which actually provides a bit of like buying with a credit card functionality to Artblock's drops. So there will also be some spots open to Floor users for 3 hours before the drop. So 2 allow lists. There's 50 spots for each one of those. So I would say there's a lot of Floor users. There are less intent collectors. So if you do want to guarantee yourself a spot, also the allow list gets you a 0.05 guaranteed price. So the Dutch auction goes from 2
Dude, that's
ETH
huge.
to 0.05. Yeah. So it goes from 2 ETH to 0.05, and being on the allow list gets you guaranteed bottom price, which is just like really cool to provide that for my collectors and supporters over the years.
Bro, that's huge. It really is. When you said that this morning, I got like legit like tingle excitement because, dude, there's no way, I can afford what these might go for. We don't know. But starting at a 2 ETH Dutch auction, you never know. And again, I would be so sad if I didn't get at least one of these. And so the fact that, you have this opportunity for some of the OGs to get in at that 0.05 floor price is fucking amazing. And it's so cool that, our community, Nifty Castle, Web3 Network, has some small part in this journey that you're on, man. And that there's value in that already. Cause I know that over time that value will just compound as you continue to build your career, man. You're fucking killing it. I'm so proud of you, dude. This is super, super dope. Super
Thank
cool.
you, man. Thank you so much, dude. Let me tell you a little story about GIF. We met in line at 8Fest 2021, November 2021. Yeah. And I came up there with my partner and my best friend and my little brother. And, we didn't really know anyone in the space yet. I was a coder. I was starting to create some generative art. We were doing some things with intent.art, but we didn't really know anyone. And GIF just kind of like put his arm around us, brought us right into the Nifty Castle crew, to all the homies. Dude, ever since, dude, we've stayed at like 2 or 3 of the same houses and apartments together. We like hung out for a week, stayed together in Vegas. We stayed together at the next NFT NYC in New York. We stayed together in Miami. Castle. Yeah, in Miami. So, dude, we've had some times, and I'll never forget that. And just really like was a warm welcome into the community for us. And homies till the end, man, for real.
Dude, donuts. Donuts will do magic. Food will do magic. Blue Moon came to the line at 7 a.m. when we were all like miserable outside with donuts, and that was it. We're sold. So yeah,
food definitely
sure,
is a connector there, man. That's definitely a connector. Jiwa, I've got a couple questions from the distribution side in kind of like the drop mechanics. We saw Milk do this thing where he like bought up a bunch of his own collection as like a way to, I don't know, ensure. I guess he like basically turned off royalties, said I'm going to buy up the collection anyways. And then we've also seen kind of a comeback. I don't know, don't call it a comeback, maybe of royalties. What are your thoughts on the current mechanics there for artists in the space? I know for a long time there just royalties were zero. Does it feel like it's coming back at all?
It's going to be really hard. I think we're going to have some technical innovation to really bring guaranteed royalties back. Ronan, what's up, buddy? I think, you will probably start seeing more like collections just whitelisting marketplaces straight in the smart contract. Maybe, for instance, if I did an intent.art, if I'm making art with my artist collective, I could create my own marketplace and whitelist that marketplace in any of my smart contracts for any of the generative art. And I think we will start seeing some of that. I think it's necessary because royalties was just such a big reason that a lot of people and a lot of artists join the space. And it's important, it's important that the artist also gets to be a part of the growth of their career and be a part of, their early works, maybe selling for a lot of money later in the future. It's a way for them to continue to add value and just kind of just be a part of that journey. So I think that's really important. Will it come back with all the trading and flipping and all of that just on its own? I don't really think so. I think, human nature has this opportunistic side to it. It is what it is. Market dynamics will always be market dynamics, and people will find a way to make that extra dollar, and that is what it is, right? We're having these experiments with free markets in crypto right now, and we're learning from it and we're adapting. So to your initial point about buying existing pieces of your own collection, I'm totally cool with that. I think a lot of artists, it's a way for you to bet on yourself and to hold back a few editions, to buy a couple of your own pieces to people who are maybe flipping it for prices that you don't necessarily feel aligns with your value. Yeah, scoop them up, hold them. And collectors should be really pumped about that. It's not manipulation. It's anything. It's someone believing in their own work and standing by that value and believing that is going to have value into the future. And I think it really means more of that than it really means trying to artificially pump the floor price, So that's my sense on that. I think it's a good thing. I think a lot of big creators have spoken up to that fact. I think even Xcopy might have mentioned something like that being cool. So I think it's totally fine.
Love to see it. All right, Ronan, we got you here in the Penta box now. Good to see you. How are you doing today?
Good, man. I had to make sure I jumped on and said hello to Jiwa. It's been a minute, man. It's good to see you. I'm glad and super, excuse me, super excited for your art block shop, dude. I was just checking this out. I'm following. I'm okay, I'm trying to figure out I got to pick up an intent.art so I can get in on that pre-sale. That's what's up, man. This is really cool, dude.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that, Ronan. Ronan has also been an early supporter. I think you grabbed a televangelist work of mine off of FX Hash from 2022, which was more of a minimal conceptual piece of mine. I wasn't necessarily flexing my technical skill, but more so more of a conceptual piece. And yeah, I remember you grabbed one of those. So I appreciate the support, bro.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Yeah, and so Neo, Vita, and Dissipation are the two allow lists, but they're limited too, and they go live Friday. So just remember, and I'm gonna be watching your Twitter. I might turn on notes for that because I need to get in on that Friday for 0.05. That's fucking dope. And yeah, just massive congrats, man. Again, if there's any last thoughts or things you want to leave us with, please do. But just so glad you got to come on here and we could show off the art a little bit better here on YouTube because it's beautiful.
Yeah. No, thank you guys so much for having me. I think maybe last thoughts are just I'm super excited to be where it's been the bear market and all of these things, but we've been building. All of us here have been building, and it's really cool to just endure the storm with people like yourselves and good people. I'm committed to my artist journey. I believe in myself. I really think that I have something unique to offer in the way of my abilities and my voice and my concept. So it's really cool to be able to share that with you guys here. I'll also tease out a little bit of something that's coming next as well. I'm currently working with a big traditional artist named Bernard Benet. I haven't super exposed that out publicly, but we're starting to talk to some people about it, and I'm working on a pretty cool collection for him. It's just the beginning of a pretty sweet journey, and I'm stoked to be here and share it with you guys. And thanks so much for having me on the show.
Jiwa, last question I have for you, man, is in the Web3 community, we have a ton of aspiring artists and just artists in general, but all across a range of popularity and in their journey. Art Blocks is obviously a big moment for you as an artist and being platformed in that way. Is there anything you would tell to any of these artists on their journey? Because I know this has to be a huge moment for you.
Yeah, thank you, man. It is pretty big, and it is validating. And I think that if I was to share anything, when in 2021, when Art Blocks was really kind of blowing up, and I was, I had been in crypto for a while, but was new to NFTs and stuff like that. I was like, yo, in 5 or 10 years, I would love to be on Art Blocks, and that was two years ago or so. So, I say, push yourself, push your own abilities. I would say forge your own path. Try not to don't just maybe, I don't want to say copy, but don't just maybe follow certain aesthetics that are selling, certain things that are doing well. Maybe try to really push yourself. Take 6 months, take a year. Time doesn't really matter. Just push yourself as far as you can. Push yourself to make something that's fucking authentic and cool and unique to you. And you never know what could happen. I think if you focus on the journey of it, you focus on self-improvement, you focus on growth, everything else kind of comes with that. So that would be my word of advice.
I love that. There's been studies recently where I don't know exactly what it is, if it's heat mapping, but where they study sort of the way that our own energy flows off of our bodies. They can use different cameras and scanners to literally see energy. And one of the things that they found, the finding was that what resonates more than any feeling, what creates the most resonant and powerful energy around you is authenticity. When you're being authentic, somehow that's it's 70 times stronger than love or something like that. So yeah, man, I fuck with that. And anyway, I think as maybe a quick segue, since you are here too, into other sort of breaking news, this Herbert Franca project sold out this morning and by the way, I totally fucking I nailed this one. I'm so proud of this call this morning. I said, I think it's going to sell out at 2.5 ETH. It started at 5 ETH. Apparently Biggie did confirm it sold out in a couple minutes. And when it hit the 2.5 level, 222, you as a generative artist, what does a project like this mean? How familiar are you with the artist Herbert Franca? Am I saying that right? I don't know. Can you?
Yeah, 100%. So Herbert Franca is an absolute legend in generative art. He's called, he was self-touted, and then everyone else started calling him the dinosaur of generative art. He's been doing it since the beginning. He started, there's this big kind of tech art conference event thing called ARS Electronica that happens in, I believe, Austria every year. He was a co-founder of that. That's been going on for a really long time. He was a science fiction author. He just really pushed the industry forward, and he was doing it with very little appreciation when everyone was saying it wasn't really art, and he just kept kind of pushing through. So I think he is one of the top OG generative artists that really deserves the recognition that he gets. As far as this project is concerned, it's really cool. They took an old algorithm that he had made for some old computer, and then Aaron Penne, who is the chief engineer at Art Blocks, has done projects like Rituals, I think another one called Passages and Apparitions, he's a very well-known generative artist and builder in the space. He kind of went in and grabbed that old code that was running on a completely obsolete machine, and he kind of modernized it. And he took exactly what it did, but updated it to kind of run in the browser in a modern way, but really kept the core of the aesthetics of what the project was. And I think that's just kind of like a really cool, it was kind of all managed by the Herbert Franke Foundation, which is run by Herbert Franke's wife. He got to experience the very beginning of generative art taking off, I think in like 2021. I believe last year, 2022, I'm not exactly sure the dates, but he did pass away. So he did get a little taste of like the big validation of that's happening currently in generative art. But he was just a giver in the space. He propped up a lot of people, did a lot of really cool things. So I think a project like this that gives kind of love to the history of generative art while also tying it together with the current state of things in the industry, it's a really cool project, and I'm stoked that it did well this morning.
Love it, man.
Biggie or Ron, y'all want to add anything? I mean, I can keep going.
No,
I
think we transition for sure. I want to give one last shout out in drop of a link here to the actual sale itself, and then Jiwa, can you tell me the project again that gets you in on the pre-sale?
Yeah, sure. So it's if you look it up on OpenSea, it's intent.genesis is the contract, and within that contract there is Neo Vita and Dissipation. It's the two main collections in that kind of smart contract. So intent.genesis is what you could pick up to get a allow list on the project, and there's 50 spots, first come first serve, that can get you in there.
All right, love it, man. That was a really great breakdown. I really hope you come back to NFT Live at some point. I know you've been on GM Web3 multiple times, but you're doing a fantastic job. And you got good lighting. We got to get your audio together, but you've been a great guest, man.
Cool. Thank you guys so much for having me. I'll definitely join again. But yeah, it's cool to kind of meet you guys in like face-to-face virtually. Cool to see you, Ronan. Thanks as always, GIF. And yeah, thanks for having me, and I'll talk to you guys soon for sure. Thanks for the love on Axo. Big time.
Say hi to Blue Moon and the baby and the banner, bro. Appreciate you.
For sure. Take care, guys. I'll talk to y'all soon.
Later, Jiwa. Bye.
Later.
Love it.
Give some claps for our man Jiwa there. That was a fantastic breakdown. He's great. He's got the combination that you need. You know, he knows how to explain his project, and he knows, and obviously the outputs there are beautiful. And the fact that I was there, actually kind of manipulating the art piece while we were live was really cool.
Dude, and the thing is, they scale across all different, like they're literally like future-proofed for future display opportunities. You know what I mean? It's like the tech that he's created, he's thinking ahead to where displays are going, and these things, they scale in all different cool ways. So it's just like they aren't just pieces of art, like they're actually pieces of technology. Again, like he said, the code is actually the art. Like that's what's crazy about what he's making, man. It's phenomenal. I'm so excited about it.
It's super cool.
All right. Any last thoughts here, Ronan, Biggie, before we move on?
Nah, man, I love it.
Okay. All right. Well, it's going to be tough for me to transition here. We've got a lot of things happening today.
Kerry Ross is fighting mice or something. I don't know what's going on.
Specifically in 24 hours, we've had a lot of things happen in the Web3 industry and in NFT space. So I'm going to do my best. We just touched on the Binance news here and CZ stepping down as CEO, basically. Ryan Selkis is someone I look to at every occasion when it comes to crypto space on the regulatory front. He seems to be leaning bullish on this. He's saying Binance is de-risking one of the biggest catalysts we could have in crypto. Crypto is a real industry post, $4 billion settlement. CZ takes a long-needed Miami vacation, a la Arthur Hayes. Market rips higher, ETF approved in January. GOP wins 2024 election. Crypto laws passed. And so basically, Selk is saying this is the last hurdle, essentially, before we start moving into the right direction. I know we have other thoughts up here. Let's just recap them for people who weren't here earlier.
Man, I wonder how ZZ does in a vacation setting. I don't think ZZ does vacations very well. He's not Arthur Hayes. I think that is a fucking beast. He's gonna be like, I don't know, man, playing with abacuses and shit, and just getting that he can't touch a computer or something. Man, I hope so, man, and especially coming from Selkis, like that makes me feel a little better, at least in the after effects for the market, right, and the people involved in it, because we need it. We don't need no more nukes, you know. Uh, Having said that, I am worried regarding just the regulatory precedent that this is setting, going forward, and how open it's going to be for other people to come in and try to innovate and create startups, or are they just creating more of a brain drain for the United States? I'm not 100% sold that this is a positive, like, net, right? Like, yeah, sure, maybe for the market in the short to medium term, good for Binance. I hope what Selkis is saying is just it, right? But I just after going what we've gone through, in this bear market, and seeing the way that this administration conducts itself towards crypto, I don't trust it, man. I don't trust it. I don't think they mean well, and I don't think they're here to help out whatsoever. So yeah, I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop, whatever caveats come up next, right, going forward, and how they're going to use this as a precedent, when they go after whoever's next.
So I think if you like, when you have to try and look for a glimmer of hope, then the Ryan Selkis part makes sense, right? You're looking for what's the possible down the line positive from all of this. Cool. He lays out what that could look like. That's like the best case scenario, though. And so I think, what Biggie's saying is that in the meantime, the longer that we take to figure our shit out, the more that we set these bad precedents and we keep dragging, the further behind we get from the rest of the world. And that brain drain is real. Companies leave, people leave during that time. There's a bunch of really smart people that aren't going to wait here another couple years for us to get our shit together. But they're all want to be building at the forefront of this and be part of this and be innovators and get ahead of all this. So that brain drain is real. The damage that's being done is happening now. It's in real time. And so that is, to me, the concern too, is that, like, yes, maybe this in some way starts to clear up some stuff that in the future starts to look more positive. But in the meantime, it does feel like we're just getting further and further away. But maybe that's just how it feels right now in this moment.
I can't tell if it's because I'm getting older. It might be because I've been in crypto for as long as I have. But Rona, you read The Sovereign Individual, and what The Sovereign Individual kind of teaches is that these nation states are and I'm paraphrasing here, but it's more about the individual working their way through the world than it is about one single nation state. And so when it comes to the US, as long as crypto survives, I'm okay. Like, I don't really freaking like that. That sucks. I'd rather have all the smart people over here in the US. But as long as this crypto, this digital nation state continues to develop, I'm okay with that. Does that mean I move out of the country in 5 years? I don't know. I would certainly love for everything to be here. But the whole idea that Andy James was talking about this morning is like, that regulation is going to come in, and that's when we're really going to get this going. It's like, dude, if you thought that in any of the previous years since Bitcoin was created, you've been left behind. You're like, oh, it's 2017, they're going to get this regulation going and we're going to figure it out. Like, it's still nothing. They hand tap the people they can hand tap with the money that they can afford, and then they move forward. But
it can get to a point where a VPN is no longer enough to give you access. What do you do then, right? Because that's seems to be the direction that they're going for. When you like flip-flop on your regulations the way this administration has, say, like with Coinbase, who checked off all the boxes and did everything correctly, and then still they came back and said no, that sets a precedent. Like, it's not easy. It's not like with social interactions where you can say, like, oh, it's my bad, let's shake on it and never do it again. People don't trust you anymore, right? When you like go and seize and freeze like Russia's holdings in a foreign country, that sets a precedent to the rest of the world on what the dollar standard, and that's given rise to like all these like BRIC new agreements, right, where they're trying to like get away from using petrodollars. You're literally sabotaging your own financial infrastructure for whatever political motivations you might have short term, right? Like, unfortunately, the United States has had a great standing across the world. It's the reason why the US dollar is the financial standard to this day, right? But it's quickly eroding. And when you see these types of legislative movements that really just look more like cloak and dagger plays than actual like placed for innovation or transparency, right? Like, I mean, you don't see them going after all
consumer
security.
protections. Yeah, like the idea that they're looking out for the consumer's best interest with any of this, and not just the entrenched like banks and the status quo powers that be. Like, it's absurd. And
you're not going to be able to like turn this around come next administration with like some new law that you want to pass. People are not going to believe you. They're not going to care what you're doing right now with ZZ. I told you that, Q. Like, I mean, I didn't expect him to freaking plead guilty, which is also like, wow, like what did they have on him? But honestly, if they would have said, okay, fine, $4 billion fine, and now you can come and operate in the United States, do you think ZZ would have done so? I don't. I really don't. I don't think anybody would ever want to do that again. It's like, dude, if I got out of there scotch-free and I'm paying a $4 billion fine, and you're telling me that I can do it again, it's like, what's to stop you from a couple of months down the line, somebody new coming in and saying, you know what, I changed my mind. Give me another $4 billion. And now I'm going to throw you in jail. Like, fuck that.
Kraken's dealing with a situation, GIF, because I think there is what you're about to say is interesting. Kraken's dealing with their staking yield piece. That they were offering yield from the exchange, and that was the initial settlement that they had to work with the Department of Justice or SEC. So this is a little bit different. They got charged like money laundering.
Binance, the intent is, like we said, the intent in whatever they latch onto in order to be able to drag you into court or make you settle or whatever is irrelevant, in my opinion. The intent is very clear: suffocate the industry and just try to grab onto as much power as you can before this shit is over. It sucks.
Okay,
but that's the truth.
Yeah, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole any further because it gets to like the existential level for me of being like, it's crazy to see the American dream alive in Asia. Like, that is just something we never were taught growing up, that it was all about the US. And it seems to be Asia's moving like so fast when it comes to being able to iterate over there and the government actually working with you. It's wild.
It's the equivalent of like the goalie leaving the goalpost, right? Like to go play like, midfield or something. Like, that's what they're doing. And of course, you're going to see Europe and Asia and everybody else try to take advantage of that. Are you kidding me?
Ronan, any thoughts on this situation here?
To me, like when we get into all that stuff, like I'm very much one of those people, you guys know I say it a million times. I don't get into like that side of things as much because I'm not as knowledgeable, right, about those things. I will say this. I agree with Biggie, like through and through. Like from where I'm sitting, I continue to feel like what the SEC is doing is literally just trying to like shake down the industry and like stifle the growth that is the potential that is there, right? And again, I am one of those people who have read The Sovereign Individual, and I do believe that there is a future where we can all exist on our own without the need of the nation state. And when you go through the rabbit hole of why do we even have nation states and what is their purpose, like you quickly find out that like we've outgrown those through technology. It all starts to feel a little tinfoil hatty, but at the same time, it does feel very real that like they're the government and the quote unquote powers that be are feeling the pressure of how technology could change their position in our lives.
All right.
Threat, I would say.
Last
Yes, exactly.
Last roundup on this is just tying in the Kraken. We don't have to have the combo, but just obviously Kraken yesterday got the notice from I believe the Department of Justice saying that they were under some sort of investigation, all these pieces. The U.S. is king-making its crypto exchanges right now. It's shown it can obliterate even the biggest offshore exchanges like Binance. It's slapping around Kraken and Coinbase so they know who's boss, and those that survive the onslaught will be bigger, stronger, and brought to heel. That's a very negative take, but probably the realest take at current rate in the United States.
Yeah, it's a shakedown and a power. It's a power struggle. They are threatened, and so this is their way to try and maintain as much power and control over the technology and the systems as they can. We've been talking about this forever. I honestly, I'm kind of like, I don't know. I'm getting frustrated with it because I feel like we've been talking about it forever. These just feel like it's more data points that back up the situation, and it's fucking like Biggie said, it fucking sucks. It sucks. It doesn't feel like there's much that we can do other than try and opt out and like go elsewhere where they're not treating this whole fucking industry and this technology like
all right,
this.
so I'm gonna hold you guys to a stance here. I'm gonna start to do this a little more often so we can maybe come back and see how we're feeling and how it judges to the results that happen. There's a lot of great takes in the chat as well. If you guys see one pointed out, I lean bullish on this. Like, I do think that this is a move forward for the Binance situation that was essentially hanging over the industry. So Print 3D, I love that comment. This is bullish because this will end the suit against Binance permanently, legally. This will end it. I will add a little bit of a caveat. There is an opportunity for the Department of Justice, the SEC, whoever, to come back later. But as far as moving forward from this moment with a big settlement, we do have that for Binance. I think it is big.
Market-wise.
Just industry-wise, man. Like, this is bullish market-wise.
You mean you lean bullish also regulatory-wise?
To me feels like a little bit of a clean cut from a situation that was hanging over our heads. So that's how I feel.
Also, is it Print 3D or printed?
Oh wow.
Because I read printed. Let us know.
But yeah, that's the scene. You seem like you align pretty much with print. And I do think that like there's something to be said for that. And I do think that, when it comes to how can we continue to move forward, it makes sense to me. But I am very much like on the side with Biggie of it's still a little scary. And it's still, I don't know if it really bodes well for like long-term like goals of like what we're trying to do with like the technology itself.
Let me clarify this too with Biggie. So I'm thinking probably in like the short-term, quote unquote, area, like maybe the 2 to 6 month time frame. Like that's what I'm asking. Bullish, bearish for the industry in the next 2 to 6 months. And we also have a poll going, by the way.
All right, go vote on the poll. And apparently you were right, Q. It's Print 3D. I just think all threes are E's now, apparently. But anyway.
You could say, dude, you do not have to agree. Like, you just give me a straight up answer. Is it bad or is it positive for the space?
No, I think that the potential for it to lean into more positive, like to clear stuff up for the future, I think it's there. I do think that like that potential is there. I'm increasingly frustrated by the damage that I see being done in the short term, because again, it's all about protecting the powers that be. You like cloaked behind this idea of somehow being for consumer safety and security, and I do actually think that like whereas the U.S. was a leader, dude, we were talking a year ago it was like the DAP Radar annual report or something. Almost a year ago, we were looking at the lead that the U.S. had and how much it shrunk already, that like some massive percent of like 30% of like U.S. entrepreneurs or companies that had already fled the country. And I don't know, man, as somebody who loves this, as somebody who loves the country, I hate to see us losing out on tech, the future of finance, and the internet the way that we are. It sucks.
Market-wise, bullish, short to medium term, long-term wise, like regulation-wise, this is not by any means the end. It's going to get bad. Okay, it's going to get worse. I think. Yeah, you're going to see more of this type of crap.
Yeah. Okay, that's perfect. Answers across the board. Also, I'm closing that poll. It looks like right now 57% bullish, 43% bearish here. So kind of split on whether we think this is a good thing. Maybe I should also have those guidelines for you right off the bat, guys. But what's up, GIF?
No, that's it.
Yeah.
You know what? I do at least love to see that there's some positive sentiment in the market right now. In general, dude, do that poll like 3 months ago, everybody would have been like fucking bearish.
Markets are kind of, they don't know what's going on. Earlier this morning, it was basically like Department of Justice going to come out at 3 p.m. with some crazy news, but no details. Then it came out that Binance was settling. So market really doesn't know what it wants to do right now. So appreciate everybody that's here. We have about 10 minutes left.
One thing I would add, Q, though, like if any of you are holding any funds in Binance, any of our international readers, I would highly suggest take them out, until the dust settles. I think it'd be a good move.
That's probably a solid move.
NFA.
Yeah, I saw yeah, there's a thread that there's definitely a run right now on the Binance. So people are feeling that same vibe.
All right. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to jump out of the frying pan and into the damn fryer here in the NFT space. Again, we just closed that poll. 57% said bullish there. So close. We'll probably start another one here in just a moment. Because looking at the NFT space on Blur. So we had the huge Blur airdrop happen last night. $100 million dropped to farmers, to users, to people that were trying to make a bag here on Blur. Seemed to have gone well for some people. Seemed to have gone well for not gone well for some people. And then right in the middle, you had people who just got a little bit of a stimmy, maybe $400-$500. I was seeing across my timeline. We had the same debate, and this is what I want to get to again. Like, I feel like we should put ourselves out there and say, kind of what's going to happen. Well, the people that predicted that the market was going to go south post Blur airdrop were in fact correct. This was for a reason, though, that I don't think anybody predicted. And that's going to be that they came out with, after the airdrop, saying, we're launching a native layer 2 called Blast. So this is, again, a Paradigm's move. Obviously, Blur heavily backed by Paradigm. Pac-Man showing that he's even anteing up this Ponzi a little bit more. But yeah, let's open up the conversation around Blast and the Blur airdrop.
I'm just going to add, because I know this is more focused on the Blur airdrop and Blast, and I think that's important to touch upon. But I wish there was a way that you could see what the NFT market has been doing, because while we did see PFP's nuke, art blocks got tremendously swept up. We saw a new wallet come in and sweep up like a bunch of anticyclones and Fidenzas and Life in West Americas. We saw a whole bunch of people buy into premier blue chip art. So while we do see these projects, PFP projects, get nuked by this news, on the other hand, NFTs were flying. So a bit of a divide there.
Where should we go? And that feels like a hole in the industry right now. I would love a way to see across the art market and be able to show it here. Is there no way to see all that?
Well, we've always said that, premier art, these blue chips that we like to call blue chips, are a great way to park liquidity, right? Like in certain times. And I think that's what you're seeing here, right? It's like people going after stuff that's going to hold its value, that's proven, and that doesn't have to deliver anything. No roadmap, no nothing, right? Whereas these others are much riskier, and therefore, I think catch a bid easily.
I think what Q's asking, though, is there doesn't seem to be a marketplace / wallet explorer that's sort of focused on data analytics around generative art or high-end art NFTs specifically. So it's hard to sort of focus in a little bit on that vertical or section of the market, or compare different parts of the market in that way. That would be really cool. I think, again, we've been saying this, I've been saying this, one of the strongest narratives throughout the entire bear market that I've been saying is getting solidified this year and for the future now, based on what we've seen this year, is that NFT art, high-end NFT art, and high-end NFT collectibles have now, I think, proven themselves through this bear market as a legitimate store of value, just like fine art has always been to wealthy people. In like throughout a lot of history, fine high-end art has been a place for wealthy people to park their money or store their value in different ways. NFTs being relatively new, like I think all of us imagined that was possible, but I don't know that it's been totally proven out. But I think that's exactly what we've seen over the last year through this bear market is things like the Goose, things like art blocks, some of these bigger collections, CryptoPunks that have continued to see bids and maintain or even grow value. Yeah, this is real. And that's super fucking bullish for the future of NFTs in general. Just the fact that big money believes that these assets are real assets that will maintain value and even increase in value over time.
And we had Jared visit us just recently saying how thin floors are, right? Well, they're just getting thinner and thinner, folks.
There's this weird dichotomy that like things are seen as more risky, but in the riskier you get, I think the less liquid things become too. Like high-end art feels to me like it's not that liquid. Like there's liquidity enough to get out, but it's not like actively traded like these PFPs on Blur or anything like that. So it tends to feel like things aren't doing that poorly in a negative environment. But I'm off on a tangent. We do have what you're looking at here, Biggie. Which is in over the 7 days, you see chromie squigs, but more so anticyclones, fidenzas. Yeah, a lot of these.
That's because of the recent sweep, right? I think like a lot of these. But yeah, look at that. I mean, no red in this side of the market, right? Crazy.
That's fair. No, you're totally fair. Gift, did you have a piece to add to there? I might have cut you off.
No, I mean, it was at sansa.io. What is that resource? That looked cool.
Sansa.xyz. I'll drop it in chat.
We need to bring the founder in there. I'm good buddies with him. He came over to Marfa the first time that I went around over, and really smart guy.
Oh, need to get some coffins on there, bro. That's all.
All right, I'm gonna follow up here with this Blur and Blast piece. So Machi was probably one of the bigger farmers on Blur during this whole season.
Was he after all?
He lost 14 mil.
He was a farmer, but he doesn't have a green thumb, Gif.
That's true.
He planted a lot of seeds, but I think he maybe overwatered the garden.
He was trying to use too many chemicals. Like he was trying to just do all. Yeah. He wasn't organic.
Like indoor, right?
I'm very yeah. Well, I think Q, you started to get into sort of what I think is more interesting, and that's like, what does Machi do?
Oh yeah,
now.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like that's going to be interesting. I'm very curious to see what he's going to do based on this, because you seem to think immediately this is very bullish for the ApeCoin chain that he's been talking about, because maybe he's going to want to go extra heavy there. And I think that's a definite possibility where he has more sort of control over how it's run, etc. I just don't know. Like if I'm Machi right now, what would you do if you spent
take a break, time, go on vacation?
Yeah, like
easy. If fucking take a break.
Let us know in the chat if you're Machi and you just spent almost a year spending millions and millions and millions of dollars and time and energy farming, maybe even actually destroying a bunch of project floors, by the way, in your wake. That's a side note. We don't have to talk about that right now. But if you're Machi and you just thought that you're getting a massive payday for all this time, effort, and liquidity that you poured into this platform, and you end up losing not $1 million, not 2 or 3. Like if you lost $14 million on this farming bet you made, again, this was not a short-term, just a month. This was almost a year. Like, what do you do? What do you do right now? And I think take a break might be the answer, honestly. But
yeah, take a break. But yeah, that's rough, man.
So Machi's here posting F Blur and Pac-Man Blur. Here's the other discussion I want to have, although just to wrap
his own little FrenPet thing too, right?
He did.
So I have to kind of
It's a dating app.
He
account
did,
there.
yeah. So this is from
I didn't even know.
yesterday. Been doing a lot of due diligence for Ape Chain. So that's my hope, that he got so wrecked here on Blur and Blur farming. He's got a shit ton of ape. Maybe he just throws all his energy behind that. Here's an interesting question. I don't want to like hijack their segment. Lucky Trader was talking about Pac-Man, the founder of Blur, now the founder of Blast and Blend. Like, this guy is seemingly on a freaking tear. And they're having this discussion. I don't want to hijack their segment, because basically they were saying, who is the Mount Rushmore of NFTs? And they got into an interesting conversation. So let's have a mini thing here, because some of those folks came in and said, look, Roham needs to be on there. A couple of these OGs, like even Devin Finzer from OpenSea, needs to be on there. I want to separate this, because there is this idea that like those guys probably should, in like the large grand scheme of things. So which one do you? I almost feel like I want more of a recent Mount Rushmore, not the Devin Finzer, the Roham discussion. I think those we can have two separate.
This season's Mount Rushmore. I think Pac-Man definitely belongs there. I mean, because he's proven time and time again that he's got a knack at spotting these holes in the market, and he's a very capable thinker, builder, programmer, whatever you want to call it, at innovating and actually, like, you know, presenting a product, delivering it on time. You know, I started following him from Namebase when he attacked the whole you know, domain name space, and I still think that, you know, he eventually sold out to Namecheap and moved on to Blur, but I still think that that's something that's going to come back and just elevate his stature even more. What he did with Handshake and Namebase is just, you know, if you're bullish on like .eth domains and .sol domains, you should look at Namebase, because that, I think, is going to be a tremendous disruptor going down the line. And now Blur and Blast and Blend, I mean, the guy's definitely belongs there.
Okay, so
however you feel about what he's done to the space.
Let's try to. I know I'm throwing you guys a hardball here, but if you guys could give me a little bit of that Mount Rushmore take of 4 people right now that you put on that list. I'm down to have the discussion around like the lifetime. Like, I think Roham and what they did with CryptoKitties and Top Shot, I think he deserves to be up there. I think that there's more of the
also. I thought he was like last season's.
He was. So let's have it feels like we should talk this.
I think,
yeah.
So maybe, like, I don't actually know who they are, but the people behind Larva Labs, I think Gordon and Garga could be up there. Yeah. But like the one that like definitely, in my opinion, should be on there is Snowfro, Eric Calderon.
I think these are all like last season though. Like,
okay, so Biggie, here, let's real quick go around the circle. Mount Rushmore all time. he's trying to control it.
Yeah. Those are some of mine. Those are the best ones I can think of.
Larva Labs. I agree with Larva Labs.
Yuga. Yeah. I mean, basically Gordon and Goner
as one,
and Eric.
And I would put Roham up there. No one's putting Devin up there. No one's putting OpenSea up there.
Dude, no, I would definitely put Armstrong up there. You know, even if he's
what about
Web 2, Web 3 hybrid, what he's done for the space, just the lobbying, doing everything kosher, maintaining it, never been hacked. Just like, yeah.
But is that NFT? That's not. That doesn't feel NFT specific. Okay. That's more Web 3 crypto Mount Rushmore.
If we're talking NFTs all the time, then you got to consider the twins, right? Nifty Gateway. Right. I mean, like, when you consider like what they did for the space, and you gotta like,
that was a big moment.
I mean, you consider, you know, was it Slime Sunday and like all these like super early ones that popped off, the first Beeples, right? Like, and when you look at like what really were the kind of, in my opinion, the two like leading platforms when like we hit that like really huge boom, was Nifty Gateway and Top Shot. Like, they were accessible. Anybody could sign in, you know, sign up with an email address. You could make all your purchases with a credit card. Like, they really broke down a lot of barriers that allowed us to see that insane amount of growth. And so I think like when you consider NFTs, like you have to consider what Nifty Gateway did for the space. Are they relevant to this point? Not as much, but like
they're still going though, man. Yeah.
They're still there. They're still trucking. You know, the team is not the same team, right? I think the Twins have moved on. Tommy's moved on, which is a huge aspect of what they were doing in the relations they had with artists.
Okay. It sucks that both of those ones that we mentioned have fumbled the bag, right? Like Top Shot,
and for the same reason, the same
reason,
not having like the wherewithal of like how a market moves when it comes to digital collectibles at all, right? Like it was a huge issue with supply. They oversaturated the market, and they were left like with
it was greed.
The greed.
Wait,
that is what.
Okay, so let me
add people up there.
That's a really great point.
Yes.
Or pack. I know a lot of people are puking right now.
No, people.
Okay, so let's switch it. Again, we're like lightning
Pranksy?
this one. Maybe Pranksy.
Pranksy?
So one thing that I'll throw in here to factor in, I think, is that the Mount Rushmore, part of what makes the Mount Rushmore special, or why those specific presidents were added on there, isn't just because of the things that they accomplished. It's because of how those things aged and how we look back on them prospectively. And so that's why someone like the Winklevosses may not qualify to me, because yes, sure, they were early. They accomplished great things. But if you kind of look back on that now, how well does that age? And I think you look at those people up on Mount Rushmore and you say they had great impact that resonated through time beyond their own time. So I would just factor that in. I do think that how we look at these things in retrospect does matter if we're talking about propping them up as the great, forefathers of this whole space.
So here's what I want to do. Let's not do the recent Mount Rushmore. Maybe we could do that next week. Does Pac-Man belong on the recent Mount Rushmore? Is kind of what I'll say to y'all.
I mean, if you're talking about just like an effect on the market, yeah, most definitely. Now, positive, negative, I'm not 100% sure.
Who's doing it better? Who's doing it better? It's like Luka, maybe?
It's a little bit too early.
Luka should definitely be up top when you talk about like who's like making like the right moves that should inspire the next generation to like get this shit right. Like Luka's definitely making positive steps in that direction.
I hell yeah. Quantum Variant saying Brian Armstrong. I suck at setting these guidelines. You guys already know from Rate My Bag. So it's just NFTs. Biggie,
great.
who were you just talking about?
Transient Labs. I can't stop talking enough about them. Like I'm just blown away. Like if you go to their page and see what they've delivered in such a short time, like these guys, I think, are truly revolutionizing the space. I mean, single-handedly, like it's insane. The like if NFTs, like just the basic notion concept of this smart contract was already a revolutionary concept that enabled art blocks and all these creatives to come in and make a living wage and collectors and sovereignty and all the things that these things have enabled. Like these guys are expanding that at a rate that I can't fucking comprehend. Like it's just every other day they're like launching something new, doing something innovative. It's crazy. I'm a huge fanboy, and I think like at this rate, yeah, they're gonna be there. They're 100% going to be there. And I might even add also another team that's equally impressive, but just on a very different sector, which is the IYK team.
Okay.
And what they're doing with,
Biggie, I think we're all pushed back, and to add on Gift Ed's piece here with the Mount Rushmore and explaining kind of the guidelines is the effect that it had on a large amount of people, right? Like have those two protocols you've talked about affected the entire space the way Blur has?
Not just yet, but if you put them like side by side percentage wise and like the time in existence, I think they are well on their way. I think their growth curve is just gonna fucking flip. Okay. It's insane.
So you're investing
next season. Next season's Mount Rushmore. He's calling his picks right now. Yeah.
I mean,
No, I feel you. I think like going into this one, like I agree, especially with like Transient Labs, like they've really like led the way with like some really cool like innovation. And I think that like, yeah, again, these are you know, entities and brands that are really moving the needle in a way that I think will affect that like entire industry in one way or another, right? Like these are things that are taking place that have true ripple effects in the industry as a whole. And so, yeah, I definitely would like second that when it comes to them. Maybe even considering like, you know, prohibition.art too, right? Like, again,
Jordan.
like really Jordan over there, you know, huge, massive respect for everything he's done and what he continues to do and how he continues to really push, art and artists to the forefront of the conversation continuously. I think that's also
Jordan's got a coffin, so I guess he passes in my book. I think he's pretty legit, probably.
Jordan's
Yeah, he's okay.
Since Jordan's fucking lit. So since we're making calls, Biggie's making future calls for the future seasons of the Mount Rushmore. I'll just say, not the upcoming season, but the season after the Mount Rushmore. These four faces right up here. So this is it. Take a snapshot.
All right, so let's get back to this really quick, guys. Blast. Did you guys sign up for it? I couldn't even get on the platform. Like it was just being flooded. It was super buggy, so I didn't even make it. I just went to sleep. I was like playing parallel. I was like, nah, I'll deal with this tomorrow. So I actually didn't get into the platform to the staking piece of this. I think Marty,
code, bro. Just let me know. I'll send you a code. Yeah,
I got the code.
I signed up to the Disney shit, bro. Like,
ooh. Did you get your email this morning?
Dang.
I'm supposed to get an email.
I got an email this morning saying like you're officially like confirmed on the wait list. I think it was this morning or last night. It was definitely in the last like 12 hours.
Worst conductor job I've ever done on NFT Live. Yeah. This shit is all over the place. Hold on. Let's wrap up.
I didn't know Disney email. I think Disney's listening in on us. It's like Ronan threw them a bunch of flowers and I shat on them. I have not gotten any emails whatsoever, Ronan. Damn you.
Let's just talk a little about Disney. Welcome to the new NFT Live. Yo, shout out to me. I just made my 1,800th transaction on ETH.
Oh, wow. That's insane.
I'm sitting here DJing while we're chatting, dude. Disney Live, Disney Pinnacle Live.
Love it.
Disney Pinnacle. Welcome to Pinnacle Live.
All right, real quick, we have to touch on it. I think Marty was saying it earlier. Basically, the situation is they announced something that's going to make sure that the Blur token didn't get absolutely nuked post this airdrop. Essentially, people can use the token and to get more yield on this new protocol that they're launching called Blast. They made a bunch of reasonings why they needed the layer 2. Biggie, I'm definitely in your camp of saying, shit, another layer 2 to keep track of. Like, this is just getting ridiculous at this point. But certainly people are putting a lot of money into this protocol and getting it locked up there for yield, because essentially there is a yield component to this on ETH as well. This is going to affect FrenTech. This is affecting the major blue chip projects as well. Liquidity is flowing here as opposed to where maybe we thought it was post Blur was back into PFPs, back into NFTs.
I guess it's smart. They're clearly very smart at growth hacking and knowing how to keep the party going, right, for themselves. Again, so I guess from a business perspective for themselves, this all looks very smart and good. To me, the net impact on everybody else in the ecosystem, again, I keep saying this. Marty thinks I'm fucking just crazy, like talking nonsense. I just have consistently felt like the only people who ultimately are benefiting from most of this is Paradigm. I feel like they do great. They're smart business people. They know how to get people excited and keeping their liquidity in their system. I just feel like so many other people, collectors, artists, platforms, protocols, they're all just getting trashed and getting hurt by what they're doing. I don't think it's great for the space. Look, I get it. I sound like a broken record. I probably sound obnoxious to people. But I'm just pointing out that I think while they might be smart and successful and making a bunch of money for themselves, I don't actually know, like, is this creating a lot of value for the space, or is this pretty extractive on the net? I have questions about it.
Look, the only thing I'll say on this, we'll have to save this for next week. Guys, this is the last episode of NFT Live for the week, by the way. We won't be going with any of the shows for the rest of the week because of Thanksgiving, and we're just taking a break. This is another level that stacks up this Ponzi. If there's no product, and I understand ETH staking is potentially a product, but if there's no interesting, sticky thing that's going to keep these people here, it's going to end badly.
Right? Like,
we're the product,
like apps that are going to be ready to go once launched and then on development.
Dude, I think, like, to your point, there is no real product. Like Blur, okay, you can argue like they have a decent product there. They did find product market there, but like with a lot of these things, when there's not much product, understand the product is you and your transactions and your liquidity. You are the fucking product. We are the products. And so many of these experiments where they're just like promising some kind of points, rewards and shit, and there's not an actual there, like they're farming us. We are the ones getting fucking farmed. And that's how I keep feeling every time that I'm asked to go jump through more fucking hoops for something that I'm not clear on. Like, what's the value prop exactly? Why am I following this FOMO fucking bandwagon of everybody like, give me your code, fucking go tweet out the thing, go fucking transact, connect your wallet and take all these fucking actions. Like, so many times I'm just like, why the fuck am I doing this? We are being farmed. I feel like I'm being farmed. I don't feel like I'm the farmer on a lot of this shit.
That's a great take. I love that.
It's because it's probably pretty accurate, bro. Exactly. You know what I mean? Like, for them to put out a tweet that says, we created this thing where you put an ETH in and then that ETH grows to 1.04, 1.08, 1.12. Where do you think all that money is going to come from? Yeah, where do you think all that ETH is going to come from? And if they're handing out that much ETH to 75, 100,000 people, like, where's the actual, value in that ecosystem? And like, really, it's just the people who continue to put money into it, in my opinion.
I think the ETH staking component is negative because there is like they're taking control of your ETH. But I think, Ronan, to answer your question, where's the ETH coming from? I think they're actually staking it into like Lido Finance, Rocket Pool, all of these like staking products for ETH yield that exists on Ethereum. That's where it's coming from.
And couldn't you just go do that yourself? Though
now they're offering like Blast and automated compounding rewards. That's the benefit.
So here's the thing, right? If we're talking about product market fit, like you can argue that maybe Blast, the L2 itself, is the product that they're trying to, or at least that's what they want you to think. What's the need for Blast, and where does Blast
we don't need more protocols.
Exactly.
We don't need more protocols though. So me, on its face, there's no product market fit without the apps, without legit use cases and things happening there.
And we've heard about the automatic compounding rewards before, right?
Yes.
It's not the first time. 3-3.
You know what this motherfucker understands is, one, he's got the interest. Like, once you do this like one or two times, enough people will follow. He understands how to bootstrap a product in this fucking market. Blur did not exist at all. You would have said, how could anybody compete with OpenSea? And now Blur is an actively traded marketplace. I think it's doing more volume and maybe even traders today than OpenSea. So that's one example of like how this Ponzi stuff can maybe turn into a product. The problem is, it's not always going to end that way.
Yeah. Okay. Again, if I'm trying to like look at both sides and give it a fair shake, I do believe in the power of competition to like shake things up. And sometimes through that competition, the end users win, right? Because the marketplaces, et cetera, they have to innovate, they have to compete, they have to provide better experiences, better products, or more value and rewards back. So that's, to me, the best case scenario here, is that this provides additional competition into the sort of L2 protocol space. So then like a bunch of these companies, these protocols, they have to innovate faster and provide better experiences, better rewards, et cetera. To me, best case scenario. Worst case scenario is this is paradigm just fucking farming us without actually creating any true long-term value for the space at all. And it's very fucking extractive without any of that and without any long-term actual product value, things being rewarded back to the community in a way that makes sense. That isn't like, hey, I just fucking floored every single NFT project into the fucking ground, farming for some magic points that I don't know what they'll be someday, maybe coming in a year or two. And then, by the way, I lost $14 million fucking dollars doing that and ruined the NFT space.
I will say Biggie looks tired. Biggie just is tired.
We all are. Hey, we're taking a break tomorrow, Biggie. We're taking a break tomorrow, Thursday.
It's mind numbing, right? Like, I mean, and this is again just airdrop, farming season, right? Like we're tracking multiple, we're tracking gaming, and we're tracking, the blue chip art, and then we're talking, we're tracking also PFP projects and everything in between. It can get overwhelming, right? And yeah, I don't think just adding another L2 because you think you can take a crack at it justifies it, but we'll see.
Okay, guys, we're going to get out of here. We're going to go one more time around the horn. I will say at 3 p.m., so literally 10 minutes from now, Department of Justice is going live to talk about this Binance settlement. So I dropped that in chat if you guys want to take a look. What's that?
Brace yourselves.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, man. Again, I think this is
there might be other announcements because they teased out that there was going to be additional enforcement actions. So that's the thing that I'm going to look out for is like, is there more announced in this than just the Binance stuff?
All right, we're an hour. We're an hour and 30 minutes.
2 hours. 3 hours.
We're an hour and 30 minutes in. Let's go around the horn here and sign off. I wish, again, I think it's nice. It's good to take a break. I was going to say I wish we had an episode tomorrow, and I do. I wish I could hang out with you fine folks at home all the time and these guys up here, but it's good to take a break. Let's go around the horn. Ronan, you start, man. Any last thoughts on the week or just anything, man? What's up?
It's been a super interesting last 14 days, honestly. And going into a nice little holiday. I think it's always, especially for Thanksgiving, right? It's nice to look back and see that. I think unanimously, a lot of us are starting to feel energized, and a lot of us are starting to see the light. And it's these conversations that keep that going. And so, I just appreciate being here with you guys and hanging out and chatting about it and kind of getting back into the swing of things. It's felt really good, and I appreciate you guys for always being there and supporting me in that. And outside of that, man, I'm just looking forward to Thanksgiving, some time with the fam, and what comes after that, man. I'm looking forward to chatting with you guys next week about what I've got going on. So yeah, man, I'm super hype, super excited. Love you guys. I hope everybody in chat has a great holiday, and our tribe.
Dude,
I got a little taste of that, by the way. He
Ronan should be the last one to sign us off. It's hard to follow Ronan. No, man, I echo what he says. It's always great to share this space and our takes and our thoughts. A hive mind is better than just a lonely mind, I suppose. But yeah, I hope you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving break, and you do unplug from these machines, even if it is for a little while. There's so many things that we still can be thankful for, in spite of whatever's going on in our space. But I appreciate everyone here, and in the chat. It's what keeps me going as well. So thanks for everything, and OVOT. We'll see you next week.
I wish I had the heart.
I can't do it.
There it is.
Good.
There it is. I have to mention this because it's been just over a week since it launched. It's going so well, and I'm so proud of it. About 658 have been minted of the Coffins collection. Big love to everybody that has. I wanted to shout out Roger Dickerman here with this awesome vermilion with the deep space top. Yeah, shout out Roger Dickerman. Shout out to everybody who's been minting over here. This is the collection page. I'll drop that in the chat. If you do have $9 plus gas and you have a chance over the holidays to play around with the generator when the gas isn't too bad, would love to see what y'all can make with this awesome generator. Very proud of it, and I'm just so fucking excited to see the art every single time that people are making with it. So that's it. I'm thankful for all of y'all up here and all of y'all out there. Web3 Network continues to grow, and I'm so fucking stoked for how we can end the year together and start 2024. I think that's it. Look out for the rehash and our Vibe Our Tribe.
Mr. Vermillion.
Our Vibe Our Tribe. See y'all next week. Appreciate it.